We are live. There's something flying. Jonathan, it wants to kill me. He's laughing. He's not protecting me. I want everyone to notice this, okay? Welcome to our convention. I'm hoping this gets shared to our event. Not everything we can do through our event. Oh, Lord. Babe, you're supposed to rescue me.
I'll keep watch.
Come sit on this side. This is where they are. Okay. I'm going to open up my thing. Give me a second. We're going to let for people to, it's just opportunity for people to join, okay? Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Delete. I'm going to export. I was super prepared. We actually switched locations so we could give you guys a different backdrop. We thought that would be really special. So now I'm just trying to get all my pieces together, but welcome. Share this video if you know somebody that wants to hear about it. It is a pretty setting. It is a hot setting. It's so hot here. I'm drinking San Pellegrino. That's what this is, just in case anyone is questioning my honor. This is San Pellegrino. It is made with some carbonated water and orange, okay? It's going to be a fine. Okay. That's really good. We're in a mood. My husband is sitting over there, not engaging, but that's all right. So if you are joining us live, welcome. If you are watching the replay, welcome. If you are hearing about this months later and someone shared this video, that's okay, because God can use replays. Isn't that awesome? Today's session is part of an online convention that we are doing. It is free. It is just encouragement. And today specifically, I'm going to be explaining more about the story of Gather Round, where it came from, and what it's all about, how the levels work, all the things, but really it's our testimony. And so we're going to be talking about that today. And I want to share with you kind of how it came about, and I will answer some questions and stuff at the end as well. But this will give you a good idea of what God is doing, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Don't forget, if you are watching this live, that you can share this video and enter to win the free digital year or a print unit of your choice or a digital unit of your choice just by sharing, going to the event. You can find more information about that in the pinned comment. Go to that link and that will give you our free shopping guide. At the same time as this convention, we are doing our online sale. It is the only sale that we do. It is our biggest sale of the year. It's our back to school special. So definitely take advantage of that. And it's going to be good. You know what? No, you either need to be a part or you need to go, because it's very distracting having you sitting there. What are you doing? He's distracting me is what he's doing. Okay. 112 degrees. What is that? What's the temperature here?
Oh, so you want me to look at my phone?
Well, in order to engage, yes, I do. Okay, I'm just going to quickly upload some slides. Give me a second. Slides. Your computer. Upload.
Feels like 88.
That's it?
Yeah.
No.
Suck it up.
88. They're wrong. Huh? Jonathan. Huh? Something is attacking us. As we saw yesterday, I don't like bugs landing on me. That's all. I just don't like them landing on me. I don't think that's a big deal. TUV. Why can't I find this? There it is. Okay. Uploading. Can't believe we have internet down here. Please do let me know if you can't hear us or something is going wrong. I'll switch over to my phone. Processing. I know, and meanwhile, up in the north, it's like abnormally cold, and down in the south, it's abnormally hot. Almost anywhere in the United States right now, actually, it's abnormally hot. Okay, slide one. Yeah, I'm not going to add slides till later. I had notes for this, and I lost them. I can't find them, so you guys are going to get unscripted. It's going to be epic. People love seeing just your shoulder. It really adds
you're
to...
not sharing it. It's like I'm in the... Oh.
So turn it. You have hands. Okay.
Oh, hot. Okay,
Okay.
preach it.
So gather round. I'm going to tell you guys the story of how it came about first and foremost. And some of you have heard pieces of this before, but I think it's good to know where we came from. 3 years ago now in June, 3 years ago, I was really in this season of just discontent, and I had been trying all sorts of different curriculum with the kids. I was obviously a homeschool blogger, and so I was reviewing curriculum, and I was using many different things, and there was learning gaps that my kids were coming across because we kept bouncing around from one thing to the next. I was trying to do school with all of them. I felt like I was failing, and I was watching at the same time my business grow. It was doing very well. My business was flourishing, and I was busy, and I was really questioning how I could work and homeschool and keep reviewing curriculum, specifically bouncing from one thing to the next. I was dissatisfied with what homeschooling looked like. I was dissatisfied with my business because I wanted more of God, and I wanted to be more intentional with what I was doing with my time and with my life, and I wanted more ministry. And so I remember just being in this season of discontent and striving, really what we were talking about this morning. And I felt like God just asked me to just stop everything. And so I took about 6 months off. I stopped doing school with the kids. We literally, like, here's an iPad, go play outside. I don't know what they really did. Okay. They learned through life. It was great. I worked. And so that worked well for me. And we were waiting. There was this season of just waiting. Around this same time, I had gone and I had listened to a session that honestly changed the direction of our lives. I'm going to do a subpar note right here because I feel like this is so my personality, and this is so something that some of you are going to relate to and some of you won't. But I feel like it's so easy to go and listen to a message. There are messages everywhere. It is like a feast out there of encouragement, and you can go watch a sermon every single Sunday, and there's amazing speakers and sermons and resources, and it's so easy to go to church or to hear something and think, wow, that was great, and move on and wait for the next one. When are you going to do another one? I just want another one. I sat in this session and I felt my heart burning in my chest. He was talking about business. He was talking about, doesn't bug on me. He was talking about business, and he was talking about sharing the testimony of giving his business to God, and no longer just allowing God to be a part of it, but actually saying, no, I just want to be a steward of what is actually yours. And so I give it to you. And as he was speaking, I didn't go up and talk to him afterwards. I didn't have any connection. I just sat there burning. Have you ever had that? And so I'm sitting there and I can just tell there's just God is putting his finger on this. And he's saying to me, I want this. I want your business. You're discontent with it. Give it to me. See what I'll do with it. And so I called Jonathan on the way home from this. It was a morning session. And I said, hey, I'd like to sign my business over to God. Are you cool with that? And he was like that. He was like, sure, whatever. Go for it. And so I went to a coffee shop, and on a napkin, I signed, I still have it somewhere. I signed over my business to God, and I literally signed my name on a line. And I said, I no longer want to do this, and I don't want to do it without you. And in fact, I don't even want to choose the direction of this. I give it all to you. It's yours. So this is now the season of waiting and discontent. And God is we were on hold. We were just on hold, and we were waiting for what he would have for us. And I'm working and waiting, and I ended up going on this trip and just being away. Sometimes I've noticed with God, he takes me away so that I can concentrate, so I can zoom out, so I can see this big picture right before he downloads this new trajectory. Or it's just something, he just plants it in my heart. And so it was there while I was sitting there that I felt like God said, I love this. I love how he started with us personally. He said, what if you could do school with all of your kids together? He started with my desire to do school with my family. He started with my desire for family. And then from there, he also found the solution for my discontent in my business because it worked together. And I remember I journaled this all out, and I was like, God, I mean, yeah, it sounds good, but that's just not possible. I mean, I go around and I speak and I talk about homeschool expectations versus reality. And I literally start off my sessions with, this is what I thought homeschooling would look like. And I show a staged photo and then I say, and this is reality. And we laugh about my staged naivety and how ridiculous I was that I thought my kids would love school and all gather around me like little hens, and I would cluck cluck and they would listen. Like, really, it's ha ha ha. So funny, right? And he so convicted me and said, that is my heart for homeschooling. And you have made light of my heart, and you've given up on my heart, and you have decided that that isn't possible, but in fact that is possible, and I'm going to show you how. And so I sat there scribbling furiously while he downloaded an entire business plan. He took my experiences, my discontent, my own family, my own difficulties homeschooling my kids, very personal. He started with this personal note deep inside of who I was. And from that personal place, he flourished this idea that could go out from that, coming from inside, come and well up out of that deep place that he just knew. He knew that I was busy. He knew that I was driven. He knew that I was determined. He knew that I needed something that was going to work for my family, but still allow for me to be able to follow what he was doing, and literally provided the solution for my family at the same time as he downloaded what would be the next stage for my business. So I came home from this, and at the same time, my family had, we had this bird. Okay, we had this robin my daughter had caught, and we named him Chirp, and it was this baby little fledgling robin, and he would land on our finger. He flew all over our house. We had this planter that he slept in at night in our house, in our bedroom.
It was abandoned.
It was abandoned, yes.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So we have this bird, and we've raised it. I mean, we went out every day and we dug worms, and we took care of it. It had lived 2 weeks. It was healthy. It was strong. We would sing to it. It would sing back to us. It would repeat our whistle. It was the most incredible thing. It was so cool and gross, but mostly cool. We loved it, all of us. Pooped everywhere, yeah. And my kids call me while I'm gone at this thing. It was right before, the day God downloaded it that night, really, really late. And this bird my kids had watched our cat eat it. Like, I'm telling you, it was so bad, you guys. They all saw it. Every one of them. How did not one of 5 children miss that? I don't know. But they called me like bawling and weeping, and I was sad, and I wished I was there to like comfort them. And it was this horrific experience. And so he just gave me this whole picture. I come home, and that's like, I'm like, really, like, I want to be home. Why am I here? And he downloads this. And I told my kids about it, and I said, what would you want to start with? And they said North American birds, and that's why you see the robin on the front. That's in honor of Chirp, our bird. So that was the start of it. It started from our family. It started from a busy mom who was bouncing around, seeing that this sucked. And I wanted more, and I wanted better, and I was frustrated. And because I went to God, because I sought him, because I wrestled through it and said, I am not content for this to be what I do, and for this to just settle with this, that he said, I'm going to just hold off. I'm going to give you something amazing. So what is Gather Round, and what is the philosophy of it? How does it come about? So I really had there is multiple different, I don't know how many of you have experienced this and how long you've been homeschooling, but there are different homeschool camps. Okay. There is the Charlotte Mason camp. There is the traditional homeschooling camp. There is the, Montessori camp. There is classical camp. Okay. So you have all these different philosophies of education. People follow it. There's entire curriculum built around that. And it toots itself as being unit study or unschooling, child-directed learning, or traditional. They usually don't want to advertise that, but there's lots of traditional curriculum out there, or classical, or Charlotte Mason. So you have these camps, and really you are forced to generally make a decision about which of these camps you are going to follow. If you are a Charlotte Mason homeschooler, then you had better be a diehard Charlotte Mason homeschooler, because otherwise you are not pure. If you are a traditional homeschooler, then you should be fully immersed in the camp that you have chosen, and you're going to find curriculum that is really established in that camp. People become absolutely enslaved to these camps. People become so enamored by them, that they will sell everybody around them on them, and they will actually try to restrict people to stay within the confines of the philosophy that they believe is right. You may have fallen into the trap of this. You find something, you think it's so amazing, it's working for your family, by the way, in that moment and season, doesn't mean it's going to last. And you tell everyone about it around you, and you try to essentially enlist people to join you in this camp that you are in because you want to do it in community and with people. So this is the way home education works. And I have grown up being homeschooled, and I'm very well aware of these different camps. And I quite frankly saw fruit in all of them. And I saw things I didn't like in every one of them. There were aspects of every single one of them that I thought were dead and old and the old wineskin. And there were things in every single one of them that I saw fruit of that people had written off because it wasn't the same camp that they were a part of, that they were given their life to and signed on with, blood on a line, that this was what they were going to be married to for the rest of their life. And so I wanted to take pieces of all of these different things and create something that I thought was a beautiful blend of what really worked, what was working. Here's the thing, there are aspects of traditional homeschooling that work. As a busy homeschool mom of 5 kids who works, the open and go component of it, the fact that I don't need to have a box of books, the fact that I don't need to go to the library, the fact that I don't need to have hands-on, the fact that I don't need to pre-read the lesson and understand what I'm going to do and prepare my cutouts and prepare my lesson and get my vocabulary strips on the wall, that's a huge benefit to me. It means it's actually possible. Because without that aspect of traditional homeschooling, it literally is impossible for me to homeschool and still be as busy as I am.
It's kind of like training scars. I learned, I had 15 years of training in policing. And for most of, say, 12, 13 years of drawing my weapon or my firearm a certain way, different positions. I remember new policy came out because that did studies, and there was more experts that more experience, and they said that this way was actually faster, this was more efficient, less prone to, anyway, there's improvements. And I remember during training when we had to qualify for a test, there were times where, I did this for 10 years, do it the same way I've always did. And I remember I kept on reverting back to the old ways. It's like a tradition, I'm like, oh, I know you told me the new way, but and somebody, an Army, one of the instructors says that we call that in the Army training scars. It's not that it was bad. It's just that it's when you've been conditioned through tradition, through how you grew up and how people have influenced you, you are conditioned and trained in a certain way, and it's very, very difficult to unlearn that. And oftentimes you combine it, and after a while, though, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the new and improve, and eventually, but it was a scar. There's that scarring, and I guess with all we all kind of grow up in, I imagine you grew up in a certain curriculum, and you kind of gravitate towards that, and it's kind of like that scarring. It's not to say it's bad. It's just that, at the time it was the latest and greatest, or at the time, but things change. That whole thing of new wineskin, I like that where the Bible says, sometimes you really have to start. The best way to do, training scars, you really have to start from the beginning and how to incorporate this new thought, this new way of doing things. Sometimes it really isn't new. It's actually a revised old thing. Anyway, we are creatures of habit and of tradition, but with this new thing, it really is kind of like an old thing being revived, but also
but there's new in it.
New in it.
So I saw the aspects of traditional homeschooling that I thought were beautiful and that I wanted for myself. I saw aspects of Charlotte Mason for sure. If you look and you're going to ask what philosophy, what style is gathered around, there's a lot of Charlotte Mason principles in there. I believe in educating the whole child. I believe that narration and dictation are wonderful ways of testing knowledge in a new and different way rather than always having to be through testing. I love copywork. I love scripture. I love a feast of education. These are terms that are Charlotte Mason that you're going to see infused in our curriculum. But if you are asking if we are are a Puritan, diehard Charlotte Mason curriculum, the answer is very clearly no. Because dare I say my statement about Charlotte Mason? No, maybe not. Maybe I won't say it.
Wow. We want to be honoring.
Absolutely. I love so much of what Charlotte Mason stands for and what her beliefs and her teaching. I think she was an absolute pioneer in the homeschool realm, but that was a long time ago, you guys. That was a long time ago. And I believe that the way God works is with change and improvement and creativity and new and fresh. And I believe that there are aspects of that we can take, but I believe that there is new and unique and vibrant ideas that God wants to take and even make things better and improved. And so there were so many aspects that I saw that I appreciated, but there was more. I felt like there was more. Unschooling, child-directed learning. I have seen incredible things where you take a child's interest and you run with it, where you connect things, unit studies, the way everything connects to everything else and has meaning and context for kids. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
There was aspects of all of these different, even the classical method of not starting when they're so young and cycling things through. I mean, I saw fruit in all of the different homeschool styles, but I wanted to create something that was really a blend of the best of everything.
Blend and also
some new things added to it, because I felt like God just said, I want to rewrite education. I want to bring a new thing.
There's a reason why, because new things are important. One, this is a new season. This is a new age in terms of we're in the last age. We're like whatever when you call it, new age, not referencing the new, you know what I mean. But the new is vital, right? I grew up in a public school situation. I remember the school. I remember decades fast forward, I went back to school. It wasn't the same. Not only the school isn't the same, the time in which we are is not the same. I don't want my kids raised and educated the way I was educated. There's a lot of problems with it, but I agree that how is this, maybe in scripture, when Moses died, the Israelites entered into the new land. The next chapter, I think it was the next book right there. The first thing that the scripture said was Moses is dead. And then enter Joshua. This is a new thing. New things had to be learned under new leadership. New is good. I mean, what God has given, it's new. It's different. And it's such a time as this. And I think, with Charlotte Mason and all these other ones, we honor for those forerunners that have, I'm sure when they first started out, it was revolutionary, and they faced all their critics and their flack, and we honor those people who were the forerunners. But God is doing a new thing, and this is a combination of things, but also a new way of learning and educating our children for such a time as this. We're learning a lot about we're seeing some pitfalls, and God is addressing those, which is great. Thank you, God. I'm just echoing what Rebecca is saying. There's old wineskins, and we're not saying like, let's move on to the old. We want to honor those and continue to honor. But this is a new thing. Does that make any sense?
What? Yeah, I'm done.
Well, you're dying.
Yeah. Can you take the backpack? Look, I'm literally like drenched in sweat.
And there's literally a glass vest.
You got my drink?
On the go. We're on the go.
Ah, so bright. Can you hold that?
I'll hold it. So anyway, does that make any sense? Maybe some people will label me a heretic for all some of those heretic hunters out there.
Puritan people probably will, but we love you, extremists. We follow Jesus and what he's doing. So, and that's the exciting thing. That's what is so cool about Gather Round, is that it was birthed out of prayer. It was birthed out of really some serious waiting and what God was doing, which was something new. And so I think that's important context to start from, is that this was not just somebody's idea. I mean, you want to ask, where's my degrees and what do I have to, qualify me to do this? This is the cool thing. This isn't my thing. This isn't my thing. This is God, and this is what he downloaded, and he is rewriting. I believe he's rewriting education. I said that yesterday. I believe it today. I think he's rewriting education. So we're gonna pass some kids running in water on our way.
They're decent, right?
To a cool office. Yes, they are all wearing swimsuits. It's miraculous. Oh, breeze, you guys. Are you not dying?
Yeah, it is hot. It is hot.
I tried.
I mean, there's cloud cover. I mean, like.
It is a beautiful venue down there. Did you see it? At night. Yeah. So amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are brave.
It's great.
I wish that's what we were doing.
To be a kid again. Oh, that pool is just not big enough for me. I do apologize for this change of venue. We're live with 200 people looking. We're going to show them to you. I hope you. Oh. We're invading your office because this is too hot.
Oh my gosh, it is so hot.
Oh, air conditioning.
Whew. Okay, we can sit there. Are you gonna sit there? Here? Where are you gonna sit? There we go. Woo! So much better. I texted you. I texted you. Sorry? Oh, no, that's fine. I don't know. Either way, we're not picky.
See the sweat.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah, I was dying. I was trying to put on a face, but I'm like,
sweat is okay.
it's like I was breathing water. The humidity is intense.
Okay.
I can breathe.
I know. It's better.
South
It's good.
Carolina.
Okay. Okay. So now you kind of know that we are, yes, eclectic, but really, I would say a new thing. So let's talk a little bit about how it actually works. For those of you that are new to Gather Round, here's it. I'm going to give it to you as simple as possible. Okay. You're like, what is this new thing? It doesn't even make sense. There's nothing else like it. There isn't anything else like it. It is a new thing. But here's how it works. Every month, you're going to get a new unit. Your unit's going to take you 20 lessons. It's going to be done in 4 to 5 weeks. Some people eke it out a little bit, get up to 6 weeks out of it. It's going to cover all of your subjects except for math for all of your kids from K through 12. That's it. That's it. Just add math. It's going to take you between 2 to 3 hours. It can be 5 to 6, depending on how much you do with it, but it is very easy to implement. It is very easy to use. It is open and go. You do not need any extras. All of the extras we offer are only because you guys have begged us for them. They are not because they are essential to the curriculum. You literally need your books. Here's your teacher's guide. Here's your student notebooks. Each of your kids is going to have their own notebook at their own level. It is contextual learning. So you are going to take a theme like North American birds, and you're going to bounce off and cover all of your different subjects from that as your springboard. So if you think of it like, for example, you're learning about the migration patterns of birds. Now we're going to bounce off into a social studies page about immigration. You're learning about the different sounds that birds make. Well, now we're going to go off and talk about battle cries throughout history, and they're going to make up their own battle cry. So we take things and we bounce into it. Every day, pretty much, you're going to cover either history, socials, or science. We take the core subjects and language arts. Those are hit every single day in your 5 pages. We try to find connecting points. You're going to touch on Bible and art. God is woven into all that we do, but more and more, you'll see it in the student books for sure. In year 1, year 2, you start to see it come in a little bit more. Year 3, you're going to see it infused in the teacher's guides as well. So that's kind of the very simplified approach of what it is. It is designed to, you can do 10 in a year, but lots of people do more like 8 in a year. That's one of the reasons we're pulling back a little bit for year 4. And there are some differences. I know another question we get asked is, what's the difference between year 1 and year 2 and year 3? Year 1 was our first year. We were learning, we were growing. It was simpler, it was lighter. It was even sometimes the approach that we did in the pages. We sometimes would have a page about what they learned about. We don't actually do that as much anymore. We're a lot more creative, intentional, and in depth. So after year 1, some of the feedback was, we want more. We want more language arts. We want more in depth. We want, it's a little bit light. We're not sure this can be our core curriculum. So we said, okay. So we switched gears. Year 2 is much more in depth. We started to get feedback that the lessons are taking us a long time to do. It's a little bit too in depth. We're finding, yeah, you're covering all the language arts, but now we're not getting as much of the history and the science and the fun stuff that we want to do. We want more hands-on. We want more engaging. So year 3, this is why I tell people it's such a great place to start. Number 1, I've come back and been writing our year 3 units. So you're getting to see actually the vision of what I have for the units. The next thing is that it is a good blend as far as the size of the lessons, but we've brought in this color coding system where we kind of teach from I go deep. And I talk about something like, for example, in psychology, we talk about some in-depth brain function that the younger kids are not going to get. But then we come back up and we talk about how, your brain works and the neurons all connect together like Christmas lights that click together one after another. And it's like sending messages like the speed of light. And, we bring in metaphors and similes that are going to connect to your younger kids. And then they're going to go and do their student pages. It's designed to be a family experience. It's designed to have God in the center of everything. And it's designed to be done in a short amount of time so you can do it in the morning and now spend your afternoons rather than being a slave to your curriculum, because we learned yesterday, your curriculum is not all about checking off the boxes. Really, you're really supposed to just teach them how to learn. So let's have fun with it. Let's not drill and kill the joy of learning out of our children. And now we get to go spend our afternoons with community and connecting and field trips and fun as a family, because you are no longer a slave to a mound of books on your bed. That is the vision behind it. That is the simplicity behind it. And I wanted to kind of explain that big picture before we zone in. Okay, so I'm going to add in some slides. So I want to go through level by level. Somebody was asking, what are the differences between the levels? We're going to talk about that. And then I will talk about ready to read and letters and numbers. And I have something else as well that I don't remember. Let's see. No, I don't remember what it is. We're going to find out. It's going to be epic. Okay. So Jonathan thinks my methods are a little too intense. Okay. So here we go. So that's everything that you get. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about each of these, but you have your teacher's guide, you have your levels from pre-reader up to high school. And then at the top there are seat work journals, which I'll explain a little bit about as well, but let's get into the levels first. Pre-reader is only 2 pages a day. It's why it is a little bit cheaper than some of our other levels. We used to do a pre-reader program. We used to have 5 pages a day, and it used to teach them reading and go through. The problem is that parents and our belief and our value was bounce around and choose what interests your child, that unschooling child-directed learning method. And if pre-reader had to be done in order, all of a sudden we were having a problem. It wasn't connecting with the lessons anyways because they were doing their own thing. And we had a problem for parents being able to be free to choose what they were interested in. We realized we needed more intentionality. We realized that we needed to have something that would teach them everything they needed to learn. And so we actually pulled off our pre-reader. We made it more of an activity book to go along with the units so that younger students can feel a part of it with their older students. We made it cheaper. It's $15 instead of $25, so that you can just open. There's usually a coloring/activity page and one other page that is the same as what their siblings are going through at a simpler level. So there's only 2 pages a day, very, very light, more or less. It is an activity book designed for your younger kids to start to get familiar with school, but not necessarily having any weight or expectation on them. There is no reading and writing required for them. You're going to do the reading for them. They're going to circle, color, very, very simple, cut and paste. Our letters and numbers ready to read replace that. And we came out with 8 books to replace what we were doing in just these simple units. So we'll talk more about those next, but this is an example of what some of those pages might look like. Early Reader is designed for students that are 6 to 8 years old. So this is around your grade 1, grade 2. I will say that Letters and Numbers is like a preschool kindergarten program. Ready to Read is a K to grade 1 program. It should take an advanced K and take them through grade 1. I've had teachers analyze this. It definitely covers absolutely every outcome that you are going to need, that your child needs to learn in grade 1. So it's going to take them through that until they're ready for early reader. If they've completed ready to read, they're ready for early reader. We designed this because they are budding readers and writers with very little writing involved. This means that those 6 to 8-year-olds, unless they are truly fluent in their reading, which most likely they are not, you're going to be reading their pages to them. And we've designed it with, they're going to write in their writing project. They're going to write if it is their grammar or copy work, but they are not going to be doing writing as a way to show what they know. Instead, we do matching and circling and coloring and cutting and pasting. So it's a little more hands-on, but the content is not different. The teaching is not different. Instead, the output is different. So this is recommended for 6 to 8-year-olds or up to 10-year-olds who are reluctant writers, because it's the same content, the same teaching as early elementary. The only difference is there's less output required. Next up, we have early elementary, and early elementary is now going to require them to use, word banks. They're going to be filling in the blank. They might be asked to, write a word response rather than it all being just there. We still say write, dictate, or draw. We try to give freedom and flexibility, but this is going to be for kids that are ready to start doing some writing, generally recommended for 8 to 10-year-olds. I've used it all the way up to 12 years old. So again, depend this on where your kids are at. The teaching is the same, but your output is different. This goes into upper elementary. Upper elementary is recommended for 10 to 12-year-olds. But again, I will say up to 14 years old can use upper elementary. We now require them to write in full sentences. So if we're going to ask a question that we're going to go into more depth, we have actually sometimes a little less teaching because we're expecting them to read that on their own at this age. And now we're expecting them to be able to work independently and give full written work. So again, we're not talking whole paragraph responses and everything here. We're talking a sentence. So we try to keep it very age appropriate. What they're learning is still the same. All the ages are talking. The page title at the top is the same for every student, but they're going to be having different depths of teaching once they get into older, and they're going to have different output depending on their ability. Okay. Now we have middle school, and this is where we really jump. Middle school is for, you've got your 14 to 15. Again, depend this on your child's reading and writing ability, as well as their ability to do work independently and be self-motivated. This is how you're going to decide upper elementary to middle. Are they self-motivated? Are they ready for deeper content? And are they going to be able to write more and not get overwhelmed by that? If yes, and they can work independently, bump them into middle school. Age doesn't matter. This is why we didn't put ages on this. Middle school, we start to have research. I will say year 1 and year 2, we had quite a bit of research for middle school. Sometimes you would see it in many different pages. We actually had a policy of removing most of the teaching, having them begin to be more, have to take ownership of their own learning experience, which I believe is important, and we'll talk more about that, but begin to research for themselves and answer for themselves. We now are expecting paragraph answers as well as independent work and independent research. We received feedback, and this is the cool thing with being a part of a company that is developing the way that we are. We received feedback that people said, you know what, for middle school, my child is just, they need hand holding still. So what we've done in year 3, and you'll see this, and you'll even see it towards the end of year 2, we transitioned to only having 1 research page per day and still trying to give some hand holding in that. So we might give them a keyword to look up. Now we have a resource page available on our app, and we might say, check out the link on the resource page so that your middle schooler is not going online and just randomly looking for some content. We're actually giving them a little bit of direction. We never do a wild goose chase, okay? We make sure that the information is easily accessible. So that's kind of the transition of where it is right now. So we try to give a blend of teaching, but now starting to transition them in. And that's going to be a key difference between year 1, 2, and 3 as we've developed and grown based on your feedback. That brings us to high school. High school, it's hands off. I am expecting at this point that your students, we're preparing them for college and university. The depth of questions they're going to get asked are going to be way deeper. Yes, the page title is the same, but where younger kids might be learning at a just content information. Middle and high school, specifically high school, I'm going to be asking them how they feel about that, how that applies to social studies, how that applies to their world and their culture. What can they find that relates to that? Going and finding that in literature and examples, seeing bias in the world around them, way more depth. We're expecting them to write. Writing is less important as it is that they're thinking critically for themselves and coming up with their own opinions on things. We start to have them, prepare an answer or an essay or a presentation and show your family about this. This is an opportunity for your kids. If you have a high schooler, let them start to take ownership. Let them they need to have a certain amount of credits. They should be spending an hour on that page, whether you write an essay or whether you do a presentation and show us, or whether you do additional research. I want you to spend an hour on this, and I want you to show me what you learned, and I want you to do it in a way that is applicable to us and show our family. And so you have an opportunity to take that really deep. And I would say that this is a key component of the new thing we were talking about. I have not seen high school curriculum prepare kids for what I see university. I also think university is broken. That's a conversation for another day. But I will say that we expect kids in university to be able to think for themselves, to be able to take information, apply it, and now give us some new opinion on what they feel about that and why or why not, and defend what they believe. Our high school curriculum is not preparing our kids to do that. Our high school curriculum is preparing them to take in abundant information and regurgitate it, not to think critically for themselves and to apply that to real world situations that are happening around them. So this is a key component that is different in our actual approach to migrating our kids from level to level to level, to preparing them for the world around them. We do not shy away from hard questions and hard topics. We go deep in our units. And so this kind of gives you an overview of some of those different answers. And there's all sorts of adaptations. I can see people posting it here, all sorts of adaptations for how you can do that, and how you can, transition your kids. They might be ready for the depth of content and questions in a middle or high school, but not for the output. Don't require the output. Have the conversations, you guys. The conversation is the most important thing. When did we decide that the output was the most important thing? The other day we did a psychology lesson with our kids. I'm pretty sure they didn't even do their student pages. I don't care. We had the most amazing 2-3 hour discussion about real world things that really mattered. This is what matters, the conversations and the discussion and the application, not necessarily how much of that can you do in output. So you have permission to adapt this and to make it what works for your child and their needs. So yeah, okay, this is levels. Where are we at now? Do you need to go?
No.
I don't even remember what this was. Oh, okay. Well, I will tell you this. I will give you, because I'm noticing this myself, okay? Especially with where we're at right now and the limited amount of time I have, I am struggling doing this with all my kids. I've transitioned Janaya to doing our early reader. And so now I have to read each of their different books to them, and I'm trying to help them with their work. And Caleb's got a question over here, and Selah's got a question over here, and they're needing my help on a more detailed level that I was hoping to avoid at all costs. So here's what I do. I read the teacher's guide to them. We discuss, we do rabbit trails and watch videos and do links and whatever else we decide to do that day that works for us. And then I take a early elementary or upper elementary book and I read the pages and I go through one by one. They all open their books. 1 second. They all open their books and we say, okay, turn to page 1. And I read the instructions and I say, does everyone understand that page? And they all say yes. So then I flip to the next page and I say, everyone turn to the next page. You should say this title at the top. Everyone flips. And I explain to them what they're going to do on that page. And the older ones, they're going to figure out their differences, but I read the teaching to them. Then I do the next one. I basically go over all of their pages with them so that everyone understands the teaching portion of it and knows, the younger ones know what they're supposed to do. And then I give them their books and I say, go ahead. Tell me when your work is done. I look at it afterwards. I still have to have Caleb or Selah help Janaya, but it's just an adaptation. It's a way that you can do this if you don't have a lot of time, if you're struggling bouncing from level to level. You can kind of go through it as a family rather than needing to do it differently. I also will say, as your kids get older, I'm watching Caleb transition to wanting to do stuff more independently. He gets frustrated waiting for his younger siblings. He really does want to go deep and research and find out that information. That's a natural transition you're going to find with middle and high. We want to cultivate their independence, but I'm also fiercely protective protective of our time as a family, because I know there's still teaching that he's going to benefit from in our together time, and he's going to benefit from discipling his brothers and sisters. So we make sure that at least the teacher's guide time is together. I do that. I do the teaching. I do the discussion. For the most part, I release Caleb and my middle/high schooler, he does high school now, to be able to do it on his own research, and just dive really deep into those pages. But we still make sure that we have that discussion time together, because that's a huge value of mine, is that together moment. Did you have something to say?
Well, it's been interesting. I've heard a lot of families, which is, I think, was not intentional, going to these conferences. A lot of families, they have kids that are so extraordinary, and for whatever circumstances, that the older child in high school wants to actually just have the teacher's guide, both, and in some cases, they become the teacher. And it's a smooth transition, because really you're reading off of it, and some of them just have that gift. And when the parent is a bit busy, it was sort of like I can't imagine doing that with some other type of curriculums where it creates, you really have to know. It's like a substitute teacher, you're being thrown into a whirlwind of where they're at and what it was, and it's an easier transition for somebody just to take over a little bit or certain sections. I was just hearing from testimonials. Some children actually just want both. They want to have, they're just so far ahead. They want to have that information, because there's some information in the teacher's guide. Obviously, a lot of information that is not included into the student text. But there's these really enthusiastic kids, especially in the high school. They just want to go and leap forward ahead, and it's wonderful.
We do give, like, for example, Caleb right now is doing Indigenous peoples. He's reading the teacher's guide, and that's his book. That's his reader. He went and chose. He's also doing entrepreneurship at the same time.
Yeah.
The rest of the kids weren't as interested in that unit, but he was. So I said, you read the teacher's guide. You don't have to do the output. You can do that as your book, and then we'll do this unit together. So we're doing psychology together. Some of you have questions about a little bit more about that. No, the high school book does not have the teacher's guide. And no, I do not read all the different levels. Remember, the page title is the same. So if they're all learning about immigration, yes, Caleb's going to be learning about how that might feel and applying it in real world and doing research and much deeper. Yeah. But the teaching is going to be beneficial to all of them. That's in usually an early elementary or an upper elementary. It's the same teaching in pretty much early reader through upper elementary. We make the actual read it or instructions the same. It's only the output that is different, but the teaching on that page is the same. Yeah. So give yourself permission. We stopped doing the same page alert because that's just our philosophy. We make the teaching the same. We make the output different depending on their level. Mm-hmm. So grab just one of your books, read that page to them, and then your high schooler can go and find the differences and do their own independent research. But that information will probably help them on their page. And your younger kids are getting you reading the teaching, but it's all happening in one sitting.
I notice a stark contrast with our family in terms of how we manage our time. So if Rebecca knows that some of my biggest pet peeves are just angst is how time is just sapped away and hemorrhaging time, just stuff that saps away your time. And I know I went through with Rebecca with the through all these other curriculums, and I was amazed how much time, not just when you're using the curriculum, it was the amount of time and prep beforehand, just organizing and the inability really for another person to just come in and kind of temporarily take over was almost an impossibility, because so many curriculums, it's like spinning plates on your fingers. It was just so many things. And when something, the vulnerability of when something happens, when you have a perfect schedule and something comes and kind of disrupts it a bit, sickness and whatever, let's just frustration and just you need to take a break, whatever, and then everything kind of falls apart. And the just the inefficiency of rescheduling, reorganizing, repurchasing, just shelving, whatever, trying to make sense of an efficient, smooth running thing. After all of that, is still frustrating. How the difference between that and easy breezy, just nice and smooth. I mean, like, we have rough days, but it's mostly related from external things, kids having bad days and whatever. But when we get down in the lessons, it's just smooth. It's very smooth. People are, I mean, for example, I'll be driving and on the RV, and it's like, okay, everybody's putting their iPads away, and Rebecca will start the lesson. She can, and I'm like engaged. I mean, I'm driving, but I'm engaged, and I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. And sometimes I find myself talking about, can I include a story, and it incorporates that, right? I mean, I can talk, but Rebecca and I will include some of our own personal testimonies within the lesson, because it allows that, and kids will laugh because some of my stories are funny, but it's almost has a natural flexibility for that personal touch included into the teaching and into the lessons.
And that's where I say, like, definitely release your high schooler to have a semblance of freedom and let them do their student pages alone and even do things as readers. But I am hesitant, and I know this is me personally. I know it's not possible for everyone. I know everyone's kids are different, so take this with a grain of salt. But I am hesitant to abdicate fully when it comes to my high schooler. I think even in college and university, our kids are getting a lecture. They are getting teaching. They look up to Caleb. He loves our teaching. He loves the discussion. He just gets frustrated when things are really slow or bogged down, or he wants to now launch into deeper. Yeah. So I do think it's important to protect a portion of that discussion time and that connection as a family. But then, yes, we release him, and there's a blend of independence that we give him. But again, do what works for your family. There's quite a few questions here as far as credits and stuff like that. For your high schooler and your middle schooler, the way credits work is you need to spend an hour every day in a subject in order to apply a credit to it. I do not recommend you taking track of that. We have a high school tracker journal. It teaches you how to do transcripts, GPAs, the whole thing. And really, you're just going to track the amount of time you spend each day. All of your subjects are covered almost every single day. So you're going to easily be able to do history and science and your language arts in that. If you're wondering, how do I get the credit for this, or what do I do? If you saw our newsletter this morning, we just released a high school quiz. And that quiz, you can go through and say, we need to get a credit in this and a credit in this. What's a plan that we could do for that? And you can come up with semester plans that you could do these units, and that's going to get you the credits you need for that. But really, your high schooler, even if that, let's say entrepreneurship is more about an elective about business and career and personal planning, or whatever you want to apply it to, there's still the student pages are going to launch into history and science and discoveries. They could take those things and easily apply it to different credits as they're going along. So make your kids be a large part of that.
I mean, I didn't really know. I remember on the printing line at our facility, I'm looking at this tracking journal. Like, what is this? And I mean, when you're doing this curriculum, you're doing the work. The work is being done, and the quality is there. There's no question that the content is there. There's no question. There's many other things, but it's important also to make sure that credit where credit is due, right? So if they're doing the work, make sure you're tracking this work, because that is what generally secondary education and post-secondary education they're looking for documentation, as they're just looking for whether the time's been inputted, and so I think this is the part where being a little bit diligent in, and like, yep, they did 2 hours of this, 2 hours of that, 2 hours of there. And I think the tracker is just a very simple, very easy to see that they spent quite a bit of time on this, and it's quite sufficient for a lot of universities and post-secondary education requirements. But it all depends on the type of college and university. But I know in a lot of the very prestigious universities do accept homeschooling education, absolutely. But if you want to get in specifics, do the research. And most of them are becoming very, very accepting of those types of transcripts and written documentation. But you want to make sure that written documentation is done accurately and diligently, not just kind of like last minute. And so anyway, food for thought.
I want to talk a little bit about mini units and what's the difference between that. So our full units cover all of your subjects. Our mini units do not. Our mini units are very focused on a specific topic, and they'll dive into other things, as everything we do does, and everything connects and bleeds together. But I give ourselves permission to be able to just keep it focused on that. So generally, the way a mini unit works, and our holiday ones are different. Those are a lot more interactive, and we don't do the same order of things. But for example, U.S. history or our Canadian government or U.S. government or those kind of ones, we generally do, you're going to have your teaching. There's still 20 lessons, but your student books are only 2 pages. You're going to have a notebooking one to take notes while you listen and one other page. And that's going to alternate. So the first day of the week might be a timeline. The second day might be vocabulary words. The third day might be narration. That's usually the fourth day, but your writing project. And we usually do one project. I will actually restate that. We don't do a writing project. We do a project. I try to keep it not writing at all, so that you're actually, doing some sort of presentation or something instead. The reason is mini units were originally designed to be done along with a full unit. So it is shorter, it is not very much writing, it's not as intense, and it was designed to be quite a bit lighter, but still 20 lessons for the full ones that we're talking about, U.S. history and everything else, not the holidays, so that it could be done alongside a full unit. As we've gone again and learned and tried different things, we found that people have not used them really that way. Most people do a full unit, which is much heavier, and they will do lighter units like a mini unit as a break month or a lighter month or a fun month. So we have given ourselves permission. You'll see this coming into the next year. Not all of them have 20 lessons, because we are kind of following what people want and need. So our holiday ones usually have quite a bit less, like 12 or 10. Some of our next year ones are going to be just short 1-2 dayers. So those are instead to lead up to a holiday, and you can kind of take a break from your school and do that. But I do want to make sure you understand there is a difference between a mini unit and a full unit. A mini unit will not cover all of your subjects. So that is something that you will want to keep in mind. All right, this is letters and numbers and ready to read. So letters and numbers and ready to read, we'll do a quick overview of these. Basically, this is, like I said, our pre-K program and our K-1 program. So letters and numbers, I designed it to be done. I found problems when I was teaching my kids to read. Either things would go too slow or they would go way too fast. So letters and numbers, I took our time with. We actually go through the alphabet twice. Book 1 and 2. Book 1 does A to M. Book 2 does N to Z. So you are going to do both of those. If your child doesn't know anything about their letters and numbers, if you're starting very, very young, if they don't have the hand-eye coordination to write yet, we start off with just draw a line, draw a squiggle, starting to build the hand-eye coordination, cutting skills, and learning and identifying your letters and your numbers. Our book 3 and 4 is now going to require them to actually write their letters and numbers. And we do this strategically. So we actually have color-coded lines. So for example, every time you go down, it might be orange. I don't remember the color. So now when we're doing an N, they're going to have that orange line together with the yellow line that was the loop that they got familiar with in book 1 and 2. So it's intentional. It doesn't matter if you see it or not. Your kids will naturally have writing easier because of that if they go through all 4 of them. So the second time we do the alphabet again. So now we're doing 1 letter every week. So this is actually more than a year. Keep that in mind, okay? It's more than a year. We got our 26 weeks for the first 2, our 26 weeks again for the second 2. And now we're going to require them to write their letters. They're going to be learning phonetic awareness. So they know the sound that makes. Now let's see, can you identify it within a word? And so it's much more in depth, and we are really trying to master our letters and numbers at this point. By the end of that, if your child has not mastered their letters and numbers, but they have some awareness, plop them in book 3. If they've totally mastered their letters and numbers and they are ready to start reading, then you're going to switch and you're now going to migrate into our Ready to Read program. Ready to Read is 4 books, and this is designed to be done in a year, 9 weeks per book. Book 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a series. And so we've got Burrows and Holes is the first one, for example, and it kind of goes through like that. This now starts right away with 3-letter words. Our first book and our second book are 3-letter words like mat, cat, hat. I work with word families. I found that segmenting words all the time did not build fluency for my kids. Some of them would get hung up on that and they would sound out k, at, to every time. So we start off with the at family and they just put that first letter in front. This is lesson 1. K, at, h, at, s, at, and they are learning their letters and how to read that way. Book 1 and 2 are 3-letter words. If your child has already done 3-letter words and you're like, I feel like they're ready for more, you could bump into book 4, which now is going to do CVCV words, consonant, vowel. So love, or not a good example because it's a rule breaker, but cake, okay? They're learning this E on the end makes the vowel say its name, whatever. So that's where we start with book 3, and book 4 even goes further into CVV words like read, and it also brings in compound words. This program, Letters and Numbers and Ready to Read, is the only program we have that also includes math at this point. So this does truly include all of your subjects. It should take you 15 to 20 minutes for letters and numbers, and it should take you no more than about half an hour for Ready to Read. This is not intense, but I can tell you that it works. I mean, you'll probably see people commenting here. We have so many people that are like, I've tried everything. It was beautiful. It was simple. It was open and go. It was so fast for me. And when I say half an hour, I don't mean you need half an hour. I mean, you need 5 minutes. It is a paragraph, some questions, and once they know how the pages work, they can do that independently. So it's very fast. It's very easy. It works with short attention spans, but it is done using what I saw in Learn to Read curriculum that I just felt like could be improved on, and it works. So that is our Letters to Numbers and Ready to Read programs. Awesome. Okay. So we have talked about, I think, most of the things. You guys are right here in our convention, a part of it right now. So don't forget that we have our sale going on at this point. You can get 10% off a la carte. You can get a 20% discount if you get the year digital. We have discounts on our Ready to Read and Letters and Numbers. We have an everything bundle that's 30% off that includes the print of Ready to Read year, as well as the digital and the expansion pack, which are many of the extras included in the unit, but printed on cardstock and full color and stapled and, you know, all the pretty stuff. So you can check out those. We can pre-order the entire U.S. History 1 to 6 bundle right now, and that is also discounted. So there's lots of great things on sale. Go check it out. And every night this week, we have Carrie, who's going to be coming on and helping and answering questions about how it works. But I do hope that this session gave you a better idea of the background, of the philosophy, of the story behind it,
Just
of the why and how.
Some of the testimonials, like we do have stories after story, and like some real testimonies of God's just miraculous provision. We just feel that there are some timing issues. We want to make sure that we're walking in obedience, that there are some things where we've just seen some amazing things. God just pushing this business, his business. And we just feel like we just want to make sure that it's the right timing to share. I mean, there's still my testimony still unraveling itself, but me, 15 years of policing with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and just retiring from that position. I had my career was doing well, but I felt, obviously God's just wanted me to support this ministry, this business, his business. There are so many more things that we would love to share and that we will share in the coming future. Stuff that is just will blow your mind. It's exciting, and I hope it is encouraging. But when we really say God is blessing families, that song, blessing on your children, that this is Him touching people who want to homeschool their children in a very special way, in a very freeing way, not a burdensome way, in a striving way, that, hey, there's something easier, there's something better. his burden is light. And literally, I mean, this is sort of, I've seen it. So it's nice going to these conferences. It's not really about sales. And with the conference, really, we just love meeting people and saying, thank you, thank you. God is so good. This is what has done for me. I mean, we still continue to get stories, and how God is blessing people through this curriculum, and he's not done yet. Like, he's not done. We will continue to write more. Well, at least Rebecca will be writing. Then there's me, the supporters, to see how we can do things better and more in a very creative and dynamic way. And that's why it's so nice to have new units. And there's new units coming next year. Maybe not the year after that. We might just kind of renew the ones that we've made and make them better. But that's our God. God is moving, and he's renewing, and he redeems things. And that's us as a company. We're a new company, but we don't pretend to be perfect. Some of our critics are like, "Oh, look at this!" We still get like some things like, "You did this wrong," and it's like, yeah, we're we're simple people, but we're flexible. That's what's the great thing is we're a company. This is his company, and we're flexible. We know from our mistakes, we learn from it, and like, this will work this way. Hey, this will work this way, and that's the great thing about the nature of this whole thing. So bless you.
Yeah. And I know there's quite a few questions about manuscript and cursive, so I'll quickly hop on that. Seatwork journals. We started off, you guys wanted cursive. So year one, I think we were on space. We threw in we had copy work in the units, and we said, well, let's separate out the copy work and we will do cursive with that. And people can use cursive if they want to. Then we had people say, my kids don't know how to do cursive. Can you do a developmental program? So we did kind of an introduction to it with North American Birds in Asia. That's the learning the loops and the whatever to build up to it. But really, it was just done as an add-on for those of you that wanted it. After year one, when people wanted a lot more language arts, and year two, where I discovered when I put the language arts in the books, it removed my flexibility to do the really cool, fun pages. And I was hating it, honestly. I love the freedom and flexibility of every day when I vision cast student notebooks. I don't know what God's going to do, and we're going to find all sorts of cool connections. So I actually pulled out a lot of those language arts components, and I created Seatwork journals. So year three, you'll see Seatwork journals, and these are daily pages that are not just what's included in the book. We put in daily spelling work that is applicable for that age. We put in daily vocabulary that is the same vocabulary they're picking out in the teacher's guide. We put in grammar in there as well. So we've got copy work, we have grammar, we have vocabulary, printing, and then we made those available in different levels as well as in manuscript or in cursive. So that gave you guys the options of saying, okay, I'm going to do cursive with my child, or I'm going to do manuscript. For those of you that are saying, I don't know which one to do, I'm having a hard time deciding. Unless your child is obsessive compulsive about cursive and just loves it and just wants to do it all the time, and I just want to do it, it's so beautiful. Okay, if they go get cursive, I highly recommend manuscript. I find that cursive gets to be to do all of that work, and especially in middle and high school, you've got big passages of scripture. To do all of it in cursive all the time gets to be a little bit much, I find, for my kids at least. I recommend doing manuscript, and if you want to challenge your kids, have them do the writing portion of it in cursive, but at least they don't also have to be doing all the reading in cursive. I don't think it's necessary. I think that there's easy ways to adapt it. You could also do that vice versa. You could get the cursive notebooks where they're learning how to read cursive, but you are going to have them do their writing in manuscript. So I would say adapt it. I would say really ask yourself, does your child love cursive? Are they really ready to do that amount of writing and work in cursive? Or do you want to keep it more focused on the spelling and vocabulary and grammar, because you might lose them in those concepts if they're so busy trying to do it all in cursive? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at it. Make sure they're ready for it. Don't feel bad if you do manuscript. You can have them do some of the work in cursive if you want to, but I think there's freedom and flexibility with it. So
you started this, like, not all the units have like that complementary, like that add-on. separation, right? The first year you didn't have
there's cursive in the first and second years, but there was no seat work journals. They're just cursive. Right. And then year 3 is really where there's been quite a few changes in year 3. So eventually we may go back and change year 1 and 2. Yeah. We may also not change 1 and 2 and just rewrite a lot of things and do different things. But right now we're just busy trying to keep up with all of the things. But this is one of the best parts of being a part of a company like this, is that your guys' feedback is real time. And because we don't outsource this, because we don't print it somewhere else, because everything is done in-house, we actually can take your feedback, we can pivot, we can change. And I can't tell you the number of times my poor team has heard me say, I have an idea, you guys, we're gonna do everything different. We're gonna rewrite this, we're gonna add in this, let's just do this. Can we just find someone to do that? I mean, my team has become incredibly flexible and adaptable to keep up with the many visions that I have for this curriculum. So it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to be a part of. And even the things you don't like, you get to be a voice and help create a curriculum that suits your family. You get to be a part of the vision. So
yeah, I mean, that's the great part about that our company includes the fact that we print our own books and we bind them. And so, yeah, when we have to change, well, stop the presses or start the presses. And that's how God wanted it. We wanted to be flexible and not entrenched, and we don't have to ask permission for anybody else or consult. We just do it. And I think that's integral for this company to be as flexible. We do make mistakes. We do take customer concerns very seriously. Concerns, about, hey, this sounds like this might be, misconstrued. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Constructive criticism is good. I mean, we're the body of Christ, and some different believers have a different perspective on that. It's like, okay, interesting. Some people, some comments like, oh, there's, God woven into this, and maybe there's not enough of this. And so, anyway, I think it's cool. It really is a fascinating adventure, what God is doing. And we'll continue to share throughout the week. Tomorrow we have some special guests. And what are we going to talk about?
Not tomorrow. It is, yeah. So tomorrow, you guys, my mom's session is tomorrow, which is exciting. Oh. And then on Friday, so this was Friday's session, I decided to bump it to today. Friday, we're going to have, we actually, some pastors that we know, we're going to do kind of a roundtable marriage talk. So that is going to be on Friday instead, in place of this one. So stay tuned for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully helpful to answer. I know there's more questions. I know,
but we're running at an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. But we so appreciate you guys. You can ask more questions, email support. They're there to help, support@gatheroundhomeschool.com. Take the quiz. We have another quiz hoping to come out that will help you get started on where to go. But please do not feel pressured to get all the stuff, all the extras. You don't need it. Everything you need is in the books. If you're really worried about is it enough, go and watch yesterday's session. And if you have used year 1 or heard that it does not have enough language arts or it can't be a standalone curriculum, I really encourage you to go onto our site and try the free samples. We have a full week from year 1. We have a full week from year 2. And we have a full week from year 3. So you can actually taste and see, and you can see the changes, and you can see the amount of depth, and you can see the color coding, and you can see what we've done and implemented to make things different. So I would recommend checking that out. You can pick and choose units from any of the years. I highly recommend trying something from year 3, especially if you have felt frustrated in the past or you tried it and you're not sure you're going to come back. Because there's things some people love year 1, simplicity of it. They don't like how in-depth year 2 and 3 is. So everyone is different, and check it out online. There's lots of information.
Thank you very much for watching.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.